Hello, Bruce. So what's the emergency about? Get down here quick, get down here quick.
My mate Kevin has just gone and got himself an S-boat. It's a German Second World War torpedo boat. It's the only one left in the world.
After World War I, the German Navy weren't allowed to build warships above a certain size. So the crafty Kriegsmarine came up with this Schnellboot instead. Small, super fast and armed to the teeth, the S-boats terrorised Allied shipping throughout the Second World War.
He's going to spend millions on this, but he's struggling to find parts and pieces for it. And we've got loads of bits here that I know would suit his restoration perfectly.
The Germans built hundreds of S-boats, but they were all either destroyed or stripped and scrapped by the Allies. All that is except one, and that's the one Kevin's doing up. Of course, S-boat parts are desperately hard to come by, but that's where Brucey comes in.
Now, I'm just flicking through this Schnellboot bolt. We've got all these brass portos.
What, here now?
I've got them here, but
All
the
right.
most important thing, the piece de resistance. See that pedestal mount there with the gun on?
All right.
That's a 20mm anti-aircraft gun, and we've got one, the whole thing, and it will be perfect for his restoration.
The Flak 38 was a German anti-aircraft gun. There were different versions made for the Luftwaffe, the Army and the Navy. Mine is the exact same kind that would have gone on a Schnellboot. I picked it up cheap for about 11 grand, but I reckon it could be worth up to 25 to Kevin.
Phil, Nick, you know them Nazi portholes we had?
Oh, yeah.
Where are they, do you know?
I think they're in here.
There was a lamp there as well.
Yeah.
See if you can find them for me.
OK. Yeah, no worries.
I don't want to cart the Flak down on spec, so I've got a little job for Oos.
You have got to do your David Bailey bit and take some nice photographs for me.
All right, I'll take the pictures, no problem.
This is the pedestal-mounted 2cm flak.
So it's an anti-aircraft gun. So what do they use it for?
The Flak 38 could fire a whopping 480 rounds per minute, and the S-boats needed them. Despite their ability to outrun other ships, they were still vulnerable to attack from the air. So they sailed in a pack, because multiple anti-aircraft fire streaming up from ships' decks was enough to put any sensible pilot off.
It was a devastating piece of kit. So I'm sure because of the condition, he's going to go for it. But you've got to take some nice photos, right? No selfies, OK?
See you later. That's a good one. Yeah, proper.
Hoos and I are schlepping 340 miles to Plymouth to seal the deal.
Just pull up round there and we'll go and have a look.
I love doing business with Kevin. Good man to sell to, and a good man to buy from if I can shake the right price out of him.
Oh, 6 poxy hours.
I know, but listen. Remember, this is a bait to sell the guns. The guns are the piece de resistance, and he's going to love them, all right?
Right, where are we going?
Follow me, because it's in here, and he told me just to come straight in. Here, have a look at that.
What the hell is that?
It's a thing of beauty, mate.
What?
But it ain't Noah's Ark, I've got to tell you.
What is that?
This is the last remaining S-boat in the world.
This ain't what I was expecting. I was expecting, like, the QE2 or the Q9,
No. Mate, look, I'm telling you.
It's a rag and bone, mate. Look at it.
This is the Elgin marbles of the sea.
Scrap. I won't give him 2 bob for it.
Well, be careful here, because you put on a bit of weight, and I don't want an accident.
Unbelievable.
Look at that.
Unbelievable.
It's in fantastic condition. And to be add the bits and pieces we brought down to it is just, for me, the icing on the cake. Are you excited about this?
No.
No?
No.
It's a historical piece. It's awesome.
In 2009, Kevin discovered this rotting hulk in a German boatyard and couldn't bear to see it going to rack and ruin. He reckons he'll have to fork out 5 million quid to restore this 70-year-old S-boat. Needless to say, this is music to my ears.
Bruce, where are you, mate?
Kevin, I'm just up here trying to nick bits off your boat. Hang on, mate, I'm coming down. Listen, mate, I'm staggered by the whole thing. I really appreciate that.
Kev, how you doing, mate?
All right,
Nice to
mate,
meet
you?
You all right?
Yeah. So you got the full history of it?
Yeah, literally from the makers pretty well right the way through till today. Its most notable skirmish was Slapton Sands when the Americans were practicing for the D-Day invasions.
Right.
This was leading a flotilla of other S-boats off the coast of England when it accidentally stumbled across this invasion force practicing and came in and launched the attack, which we now know cost somewhere between 700 and 1,200 lives.
Kevin's talking about Operation Tiger, the big dress rehearsal for D-Day. This was the S-boat that crashed the party. A dark day for the Americans, but it makes this Schnell boat of huge historic interest.
Well, these are bits that I found on board. We found 3 of these sealed in tar.
What are they, beer bottles?
Yeah, and on pulling them out, made a hissing noise. At the time, everybody thought it was some sort of self-destruct device. But the shipbuilders put 3 bottles of Beck's beer and they laid them in the hull as a good luck charm.
Right.
And the hissing noise, of course, was the lid coming off.
Oh, so they were full when you
Yeah,
found
and all of a sudden there was a waft of fairly drinkable beer, and one of our guys actually, when it was open, drank it, and it was quite drinkable.
Listen, mate, I love this sort of thing, but I'd never ask you to part with those type of things.
It's part of the soul of the boat, so they've got to stay with it, Bruce. And that's why I brought these other 2 bottles, which I would part with.
Are they wartime?
They are wartime. That's French eau de vie,
Where's the contents?
and that's long gone. But this
Yeah.
one's still full.
Right.
Wartime produced Bordeaux.
Okay. It says Wehrmacht just here, which means that it was actually produced for the German army.
For the Germans, one of the joys of occupying France was guzzling the local vino. But it is said that French wine producers used to palm off the worst stuff to the Wehrmacht. Not that Adolf Hitler would have noticed. Among other unpleasant character traits, he was rumoured to be a teetotaler.
I'd like them.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be worth what? 50 quid the 2?
I think they've got to be 250, 300 quid. We've got to stop.
Well, one's
somewhere.
empty.
Yeah, well, it's made up for the one that's full.
150 quid, come on.
No, it's got a bit nearer.
175, and we'll put them one side.
200 quid and I'll go and put them in the car for you.
175, come on, 175. Yeah? Come on, 175.
Go on then.
175. Right, that's them done.
I can flog these on for about 250 quid, but like any fine wine, if I sit on them a little, the price will grow like grapes in the sun.
Have you got all the bits you need for this now?
We're getting there. It's all the small stuff that takes a lot of finding, you know.
Well, I know a man that might be able to help you, and he's standing right here. I've bought some very interesting bits down for you.
You're having a laugh, mate. Look how heavy the thing is.
Doesn't matter. Right, hold it. Just stay.
Hold it.
I'll give you a hand, just a minute.
Bruce,
Right, listen, stay there. Wait, get in there, come on.
listen, don't hang around, because this is heavy.
Come on, stop whinging.
I'm going to kill you when I get in, I'm telling you.
You make a bit of room.
What have we got here?
Right, have a look at this, because it's right up your street. That, I'm sure, is the same light that went on this boat, and it's a beautiful condition one, look
Yeah,
at
it's
it.
all complete.
It's stamped, Kriegsmarine there, the date, everything. Now, I take it that's the manufacturer's.
Manufacturer in Hamburg,
Okay.
yeah. That would be like a masthead lamp.
Right.
And then you would have red and green for port and starboard.
Okay, but it's nice,
But
though.
it's the right thing, it's 100% correct.
Let's just come back to that because, you know, I do like to pull something else out of the bag. It's one of 2 portholes, wartime dated, 1943.
S-boats were built for war, not for holidaying, so there weren't loads of portholes, but the 2 I've got are perfect.
There's something you'd be interested in there as
If there's
well.
a pair of them, yes.
There's a pair, and we have the other one in the car.
I've also got a ship's telephone handset that is bang on for this boat, plus a Kriegsmarine German Navy sailor's cap, which is exactly what the boys on board would have been wearing.
Yes, that's right up my street.
My plan is to soften Kevin up by selling him this stuff at a bargain price, to sweeten the deal on the flak gun.
The portholes, I've got to ask £2 each for them. Obviously, £300 for that. This, I would let go for £150 as well.
Well, I'm one step ahead.
Okay.
I like the big bits. I'll give you 5.5 grand for the lot.
Make it 6 done based on what I've given you. I'll chuck it all in. It's an extra £500, but it seals the deal and everything's in. Make it that, and I've got a deal.
Dinner's on you.
Right.
Now to move in for the kill.
I couldn't bring these up, Kevin, but
Oh, wow.
right. Please have a look at those. And this, Kevin, as you can see, is a 20mm deck-mounted anti-aircraft gun, right? Which would go on this boat.
That's the right deck mount, yeah.
Including the deck mount. Now, it is in absolutely brand new condition. It is right for this boat, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, it's a naval mount.
Now, you know, I'd love to see this on there, but it's all about the price, because it ain't cheap, Kevin. But I've got to stick to the figure that I want, and I'm asking £25,000 sterling.
I can see me paying 20 for it.
You know, 20, it's so rare, you know, at £25,000, I think it's a good price.
Could it be made to operate? Could it fire again?
A deactivated German anti-aircraft gun can be made to blank fire, but it takes expertise, a special kit and money to do it. I'll tell you, Kevin's no mug.
You would like that firing?
If you can get that firing, I think we could have a deal.
I could get that working for you and invite you up to test fire it if you stick to the price I'm asking for £25,000.
That sounds good to me.
Done?
This has been a good morning. If I can get the gun firing, I'll be quids in. Better still, Kevin's S-boat is just a shell, which means he needs lots of authentic parts for it, if I can find them.
Bruce, what the hell are we doing this time of the morning?
Listen, stop bleating already. We're here at this military fair because there's a guy here that's brought down a proper blank firing kit for me. Now, if it's the right one, I can have a deal and we can get it sorted out.
The Chatham Military Fair is a monthly market in Kent, and my top tip is to get there early, before the world and his friend arrives.
Morning, gentlemen. How are we doing? All right.
Lovely.
We're here for one thing and one thing only. Then it's a bacon sandwich and back to bed.
Them, see them? They're Bergen.
Sidetracked at the first stall.
Basically, it's a backpack, right, with a frame on it. And they were still in use with the British Army up until recently. Very nice. These World War II, mate, yeah?
Oh, yeah, 42, 44 datings.
44. Now, these would be used by commandos and, you know, man's special forces, but they carry a massive load. And it would fit on you around the back. Well, maybe not you. Somebody a lot thinner. I need two to put around you. Look. You know,
It's like thermals, mate.
it's like a girdle on you. You can hang them in vehicles and use them on mannequins, but, you know, they'll clean up quite nicely. How much these, mate?
30 quid a piece.
30. Don't sound cheap. What about 20 quid each?
Get a couple.
I'll do 2 for 50 quid.
2 for 50 quid, yeah? And I'll get me pick, yeah? 50 quid. OK, lovely. Well done, mate. Many thanks.
Those bags were too much of a bargain to pass up, because they'll have the reenactors reaching for their checkbooks. But now back to the real reason we came.
James.
Hello,
we
Bruce.
doing, mate? All right?
How are you? You all
Yeah,
right?
yeah, fine.
See ya.
Have you got that blank foreign attachment? You told
Yes,
us, haven't you?
yeah, I've got that just up this side.
Oh, is this it here?
Yeah, this is it, Bruce. This is what I was talking about.
Right, OK,
Got a
go
little
on.
button down that end.
Oh,
Is
right,
that what you're
lovely.
looking for?
Yeah, that's it. Lovely. Clearly marked here. It's a blank firing barrel for a 2 centimetre flak 38.
Yeah, that's it, yep, complete.
If you're wondering why the Germans wanted blank firing anti-aircraft guns, the reason is training. You don't want to train soldiers using expensive and dangerous live rounds. To make a gun like the flak fire blanks, you need a special barrel and these things called restrictor plugs. And this box has both.
This is nice. But the important thing is, mate, is how much?
Ah, right.
You know?
On that as it is, in the box, all complete, I need 3 grand.
£3 grand, mate. That's out the ball game.
They're a hard thing to find.
But I mean, I'll see it about, I don't know, 1,800 quid maybe.
No, it's not even a deposit.
On the one hand, he knows I want a flak 38 blank firing kit, and there ain't many of them about. But on the other hand, I must be the only bloke in Britain that wants one.
All right, I'll go 2-1.
No, two and a half, and that is absolute.
Two and a half grand.
It's got to be 2.5.
2.5
I can't do no more.
10% of it.
Look at what we're going to make out of it.
Yeah, right. It is new, the box. Done.
2,500 is not cheap, but it's worth a lot more to me if it seals the deal on the flak gun. Sue puts up with a lot, with me always away buying and selling historic military kit. So for a treat, I thought I'd take her for a day out to a huge military fair.
Mate, this is awesome already. 5 days ain't enough.
It's getting bigger each year, though, boys. Bigger each year.
I'm bound to be able to pick up some really nice bargains.
This is what I call quality time. The sun is shining, and as far as the eye can see, it's a seething mass of tanks and uniforms and thousands of other things.
They get 150,000 people through this show. It's just incredible.
Fairs like this are just getting bigger, and there's more and more on offer, including the most delightful period music. And to cap it all, there's a World War II themed dance tonight with an American Glenn Miller style big band, led by a relative of the great man himself. War and Glenn Miller changed music in Britain. Unlike in America, where there were hundreds of private radio stations, British radio was a state monopoly. The BBC played boring, old-fashioned music, which the men in charge thought would keep us calm. But when the exciting Yanks came over, they brought their exciting music. And none was more exciting than Glenn Miller. When it came to music, the Americans liberated the British. But short of listening to a live band, if you want to get the full experience, there's only one way to listen to Glenn Miller music.
Oh, what's this? It's even got, look, Master Spice on it.
Yeah, I know. It's very, very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
Excuse me, sir. Could I just have your attention and ask you a couple of questions? What period is this?
1930s, 1940s, late
Right.
30s, early 40s.
Okay.
Bruce, I love it.
Oh no,
I love
but
it.
listen, I mean, we're after one of these, but also you ain't got any Glenn Millery stuff. It's Glenn Miller bits we're really keen on. Oh, they're in an album.
They're all Glenn Millers.
Yeah. Can I have a look at that? Yeah.
Yep. No worries. Do you want to hear that? Or?
Yeah. Can we? Here, hang on. Here, man's going to play it for us. They have that crackling about,
It's
don't
got a
they?
sound of its own.
That's how it should be played.
To lift the spirits of the troops overseas, the American government pressed their own records of popular songs. They called them V-discs, standing for victory, and over 8 million were sent around the world to play on the Army's radio shows. Glenn Miller was so popular, he was even given his own show. But radio communication, being what it was, German troops could pick it up too, and they loved it, much to the extreme irritation of the Führer.
Great. How much is that, mate?
240. I got it priced at 240, and that is an HMV, which is one of the best mates you can get.
And the record collection?
There's about 15 in there. I'll take 60.
In the mood to come with that.
Yeah.
Go on, I think I've got one at home. 15 all original Glenn Millers. They're all original Glenn
In
Millers.
that sleeve and everything, yeah?
Yep.
It's nearly my anniversary. Here, I bought you a little present. This ain't even going to haggle.
I always think the nicest present you can give a woman is a present you want yourself.
Yeah, see?
Thanks,
That's how I
babe.
don't buy you nothing.
Oh, it's lovely.
That's
Bruce.
it.
That's a really nice one.
No chocolates tonight.
Military fairs are a great way for me to catch up with lots of my mates and contacts in the industry. Mr. Peter, how the devil are you? All right, mate? All set up already? Yeah? You're all right, got a lot of stock here, yeah?
Got some stuff for you.
OK. Alex!
Bruce!
How we doing, all right? And nice to see you. Alex is the son of one of my oldest friends in the business, Christian Kramer, a well-known dealer. English, but living in America. And we go way back. Is your dad with you?
He is, but I've lost him.
Remember Sue, yeah?
Yeah, nice to see you, Sue.
Have you found anything?
I've been finding lots of stuff here. It's a great show.
So we get chatting, and I tell him I've just bought Sue a gramophone player and some original Glenn Miller records. And one thing leads to another.
Bruce, this is your lucky day. Because I have something of Glenn Miller's that I thought would be really popular. I know Glenn Miller is kind of an icon in England.
Miller died in 1944, flying from England to France to play for the Allied troops. His plane mysteriously disappeared without a trace over the English Channel. All artefacts and relics linked to the great man are highly sought after.
It's a better market here for his stuff than it would be in the United States.
Yeah.
So in my car, I have his complete World War II uniform.
Glenn Miller's uniform.
His hat, his tunic, his shirt, his tie, his pants, and his Sam Brown belt. Most of it is named to him.
Is it for sale?
Of course it's for sale. That's why I'm here.
Listen, mate, I've got to tell you, I'm hunting around for records, I'm hunting around for program. The fact that I could possibly look, see, touch, and maybe buy his uniform has made me go weak at the knees.
There's only one thing.
What's that?
It's not going to be cheap.
Oh, yeah, listen, quality never is. You know, that's when people look at me, they see the same thing. Can we go and have a look at this?
Let's do it.
All right, I'm dropping everything. I'm coming with you. I'm handcuffing myself here.
I'm in heaven. A sunny day, a giant military affair, my beloved wife Sue, and the tantalising prospect of seeing and touching Glenn Miller's actual army uniform in the flesh, so to speak.
So where you got the gear?
Right here in my trunk.
Oh, right, OK. Into the treasure trove, eh?
Here we are.
Right, OK. Is that it?
This is Glenn Miller's uniform. Most of the pieces are named to him, as you can see in this hat.
Unbelievable.
He's got his name tag right inside the cellophane window. The man who collected it started collecting in the early 50s in the United States, in Ohio. He passed away 2 years ago. So we bought 32 pieces in total, and this is one of the pieces. So from this, we know when it was made, where it was made, and when it was issued.
That's lovely.
We don't have any paperwork with it other than the pieces being named.
Okay.
We don't have much more to go on, but the breadth of the collection, which had other pieces like from Jimmy Stewart, General Patton, those pieces all had original auction receipts from the 1950s and 60s.
Awesome.
We have the shirt,
Lovely.
and you can see a hint of his name at the top.
You'd have had a number of uniforms.
Well, typically American officers would have half a dozen uniforms,
Right,
sometimes
okay.
even more than that.
So the trousers are there, yeah?
Yep, also marked.
That's awesome, mate. Honestly, it's just, I don't know. What can I say? You know, you've hit the jackpot.
Wow.
This guy is absolutely loved here.
Miller was too old to be conscripted, and when he enlisted, it was big news. He was at the height of his fame, earning big bucks. He formed the Army Air Force Band, and it was Miller who gave American marching music that jazzy style it still has today. The top brass thought it was a bit radical, but the troops loved it. He was a real hero, and now I almost feel like I'm meeting the man in person.
So, obviously, the million-dollar question, Alex, is, you know, how much would this cost?
If this piece had an original auction receipt, like many of the uniforms we got out of this collection, it would be maybe $20,000. All we have is that we know it's the right uniform, it's the one he would have worn, it's his rank, it fit to him or his body type, and it's got his name on it. We are asking $10,000.
I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's a lot of history. I know you, you know me, and I know if you say it's right, that's it. I would dearly, dearly love to own this. Really, really would. To be quite honest, it'd be an honour to own something like this.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money. I mean, how does 6 float your boat?
That boat sank. I'm never going to see this again, so I don't mind having it for a while. And
6.5. Got to be a bit of movement.
And no, 9,000 is where I am.
7.
8,000.
Split. 7.5. Come on, 7.5.
Since it's going to go to somebody who clearly loves Glenn Miller and his legacy, I will do 7,500.
75. Yeah, see, 7,500. Lovely. Listen, yeah, go on, shake your hand.
You are welcome.
Listen,
you're never letting it go.
I was going to give you 15 for it. No.
I'll just keep the hat.
No. So, listen, mate, I'm over the moon with that.
In a perfect world, Miller's uniform would come complete with documentary evidence, but that's asking a lot. I'm getting it from a trusted dealer, and it has a traceable history that can be verified and with more research made even stronger. This is my direct link with the man that wrote the music for World War II.
What I'd love to do, this show has a Glenn Miller tribute band, and I'd love to give the people here the opportunity to see this.
People see it.
So let me think, I reckon I can charge £10 a try.
It's a lot of money, but it's Glenn Miller's uniform. And in any case, all that oily stuff the boys are doing back at base should easily cover the costs, I hope.
It's a cracking piece of Dorset countryside we're in here, Bruce, but who is it we're coming to see?
Well, we're going to see Oliver Barnum. You've met him with me before. I mean, he's been a friend of mine for donkey's years.
The curator of one of Calais' most important museums has commissioned yours truly to find spy tackle relating to different countries. So I'm off to see Oliver. He's an eccentric collector with an eye for the obscure. I know he's had surveillance kit before, so if anybody's got spy gear, it's him.
Oliver, good morning, sir. Nice to see you. Sonny Sherborne. How you doing, all right?
Welcome. Not too
Remember Freddie? Can I be nosy?
Of course you can. You always are.
Oh, what's up there, anything?
There are a few bits and bobs.
Freddie, have a look up there. You're like Spider-Man. Come on.
Please have a good rummage. I'm under great pressure from Colette to get rid of as much as I possibly can.
Well, listen, if you want to, we could clear the lot out and I'll do it for nothing.
Oh, what a nice man.
I like Oliver's wife, Colette, a lot, especially when she gets her old man to sell off his stuff.
Bruce?
What is it?
This says England on it.
Right.
But then everything else in here is in German, so...
What's this? Handbag. Oh, blooming hell. God, thanks for that. What are these then, Oliver? Maps?
It's more than just maps. It's town plans, a description of each town.
What, German ones?
Prepared by the Germans for the invasion of England.
Operation Sea Lion?
Yes.
Operation Sea Lion was Hitler's master plan to conquer Great Britain. If it had been successful, how different our lives would be today. Hitler had Nazi spies secretly operating here years before war was declared. They posed as holidaymakers and sent back all sorts of information, like locations of power plants and dams that would help them with the invasion. Luckily, the brave pilots of the RAF thrashed the Luftwaffe in the Battle of Britain. Without control of the skies, Operation Sea Lion was a dead duck.
They're in beautiful condition. They are brand new, aren't they?
Well, fortunately, they've never been used.
No.
Yes.
What's this one? I mean, this is a town.
That's Ipswich.
Let's have a look here. So what are these then?
These are numbered items here. You've got the key on the side.
Look, the station, factory, chemical works, look, everything here, and they're clearly marked. It's like an encyclopedia for people that are going to go and try and blow the place to pieces. I mean, what sort of money would you want for these, Oliver?
Well, bearing in mind the rarity and the fact that there are almost 200 separate documents here, I wouldn't really want to let it go under 2,500.
Ooh, £2,500. Yeah. That's a little bit rich for me. I mean, they are rare. There's no question about it.
It is a complete set.
Complete set. 1,500 quid.
£2,000.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
For anybody interested in wartime espionage, these documents are priceless. Easily worth the money and a perfect exhibit for Eric's museum.
This is the thing I really wanted to show you. It may not look very much.
A sandwich box.
One German spy radio set.
Ah, now that is exactly the sort of thing that I'm really trying to find.
Produced by the German intelligence organisation, the Abwehrs.
Blimey hell. Does this work?
Yes. This comes out and gets plugged in there. So...
Oh, blimey hell, look, little Morse code kit.
The Abwehr was Hitler's spy agency, the Nazi MI6. Unfortunately for Hitler, the German head of intelligence and many Abwehr agents secretly hated him because of what the Nazi ideology was doing to the world. Agents regularly leaked information to the Allies. They helped Jews escape Germany. And they were even involved in assassination attempts on Hitler. In February 1944, Hitler was forced to abolish his own intelligence agency. It would make a great film, The Spy Who Hated Me.
What sort of value are these things?
I've never heard of a German one being offered on the market.
Right.
I'd be looking for 2.5.
2.5 grand?
Yes.
You can't even get Radio 1 on it. 2 grand.
2 grand.
How's that?
Oh. All right.
2 grand, yeah?
2 grand, OK.
All right, done.
All right.
How amazing's this? A German spy radio very possibly used to double-cross the Nazis. It's going to be with a very heavy heart that I hand this over to Eric.
What's that?
That thing, that's a bit of a V1.
Is it? So this is for a V1 flying bomb?
Correct.
Vengeance 1, I understand,
Correct.
yeah?
Yep.
This is the instrument that, when you see them in the films, they're flying along, they just stop. It was a clockwork motion.
Correct, yep.
Look at that.
The V1, or Vengeance 1, as the name suggests, was the forerunner of the V2, Hitler's top-secret Wunderwaffe, or wonder weapon. In the last weeks of the war, British and American spies were sent to capture the Nazi rocket scientists who designed it, to stop them going and doing the same thing for the Russians. And heading the British spy operation was none other than Ian Fleming, who would go on to create James Bond. The V1 bomb is just the sort of arch-villain superweapon that 007 would have had to try to stop with seconds to spare.
Nice little quirky thing I find interesting. How much would that be, Oliver? Mate's rates, obviously.
50 quid.
Done. There you go.
Okay.
I ain't even going to argue that. 50 quid, yeah. It's my new alarm clock.
Ah.
You know, no, except it's going to blow me to bits when it goes off.
50 quid for the ticking brain of a supervillain's bomb.
Well, that was all right, you know. We've ended up with a nice bit of spy kit. I would think that our client is going to be very, very happy with that, believe me.
I've got a near-empty van, and I've still got to find more bits for Eric's museum.
Well, they're going to have what we're looking for, the spy and resistance stuff that we're after.
You never know, like, we might strike out, so keep your fingers crossed. A French museum asked me to buy up as much World War II spy kit as I can find. I saw a lot of lovely bits in Italy. Problem was, most of it weren't for sale. But I'm en route to an old dealer mate of mine up in leafy Hertfordshire who says he has some spy items that might suit.
I know I'm going to see about 200 other things I want to buy. You have got to stop me spending my hard-earned cash.
Bruce is so easily distracted. We're here for resistance and espionage stuff only.
Nice place, mate.
Yeah, very nice.
Oh. It's got to be in the garage, as you said, isn't it? Here we go.
Here, have a look at this.
Bruce. How you doing?
Listen, it's a fair old setup you got here, isn't it? Blooming hell.
Yeah, we like to have everything on display so we can enjoy it.
Yeah. It's awesome, mate.
Daniel's got a fair bit of stock and it's nicely presented for a change.
That's really nice. The 42 helmet, look, SS helmet.
A helmet? That is not what we're here for.
We're only here for other stuff, yeah?
Daniel, can you explain what that actually is?
Did the resistance use that?
3,000.
Yeah, 3,000. Yeah, we need to put that back. Come, mate. Let's have a look at some resistance stuff.
We are. This is resistance.
You are resisting me.
I am resisting.
Come on.
Hoosh right. I need to stay focused.
Have you got any spy stuff, resistance stuff? How about a pencil? Have a look at that.
I think I've got plenty of pencils, buy these by the dozen, don't we?
Well, it's not just any pencil. That's an Assassination pencil. Inside there is a blade.
That's awesome. Really awesome. So this was used specifically by people that were going on Operation Behind the Lines and that type of thing. So, yeah, secret agents, basically, yeah. So were these mass-produced or...?
No, they were made on a very small scale by MI9.
MI9 was one of the British Secret Services, and part of their remit was to invent gadgets to aid agents behind enemy lines. MI9's real-life spy gadget guru was called Charles Fraser Smith, who later became the inspiration for James Bond film character Q. Just like in the Bond movies, the British Secret Services really were the masters of invention, designing one-man submarines for stealth attacks and exploding rats to destroy factories. And, apparently, secret daggers concealed in pencils for use by British agent assassins.
I've got another one, and this is a sample to show the secret agents what was inside.
Well, I'll be. Look at that.
Now, that is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I just thought they were a normal pencil. So it's got no lead in it?
No, it's just got a blade inside.
That's a little bit like you. You got no lead in your pencil, have you? Daniel, you've rung me belly. It's items like these that our client is very, very keen to acquire. If I was to possibly ask you for a price for those two...
If you wanted both, how about $15.50?
Yeah, it's still really, I mean... Yeah. 1,300?
It's a bit low. You're getting close to what I paid. How about $13.75?
OK, all right, mate. Lovely. Thanks.
Yeah, they're nice. Thank you, mate. They're really interesting.
Normally, I would balk at spending that much on a pencil, but this is a direct link to the real Q. I feel like I'm in From Russia with Love.
Take a look at this. What's this?
That's for a pier. You got a pier?
Just some parts that I picked
There's
up.
other bits in there as
yeah,
well.
Yeah, that's the stand. Show us that. What else is there? Just give me that piece there. That's the trigger mechanism.
I just picked this up just recently. I don't really know, much about it.
This is a Piat, or projector infantry anti-tank weapon. It was Britain's equivalent of the German Panzertreck that the twins are fixing. With bazookas and Panzertrecks, when you fire them, they give off a puff of smoke, which could reveal your position to the enemy. To get round this, the pier is spring-loaded, meaning no smoke signal. Great idea, but the spring is a pig to use.
Is this for sale, yeah?
How about 600?
600? I ain't even going to argue. Done.
I know I came here looking for spy bits for Eric, but I've got other Piat parts back at the farm. If Freddie can build me a whole one, I can show it to my Hollywood armourer along with the Panzerschreck. I'm sure he'd be interested in a Piat. Now back to Eric's shopping list.
Anything that you've got a bit of history with that, you can say was worn by the Resistance.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. This is a German M35 helmet captured by the Polish, and you can see the scratches around the decal here just to show the Polish flag.
Right,
So this one has been used by the Polish Resistance.
Ah, right. Can I have a look at that? See, the German decal was black, white and red. They've scratched the black out so that's the Polish flag colours.
The Polish underground resistance was one of the biggest in Europe, and they had to fight both Nazis and communists. As many as 200,000 Polish resistance fighters were shot or sent to the death camps by the Nazis. They spied, engaged in sabotage and open revolt. Needless to say, they didn't have their own arms and kits. These heroic Polish freedom fighters would claim anything they could get their hands on to take on the Nazis.
The only other thing I think that might be interesting for you is this helmet here. We think this is French Resistance.
Right.
It's been painted red, black and red.
Sure it's not Aston Villa?
Because we found it in France in a barn,
yeah.
we think it's been taken by the French Resistance and used against the Germans.
For the museum in Calais, French resistance gear is a must.
What you got on these, by the way?
I was going to ask 5 for that one.
OK, and that one?
Well, this one here's a £700 helmet.
That's not trade price, is it?
No. I'm sure Daniel will make sure that we're comfortably looked after. I mean, how's £1,000 for the two?
That's a little bit tight for me. I was thinking more maybe 1,100.
1,050. How's that? 1,050, and we ain't finished yet. We're still here.
Go on then, I've known you a long time.
Yeah, lovely.
Helmets have always been a popular wartime memento, but these helmets, taken and used by the Resistance, tell a special tale. And that's what makes them valuable.
I've got something else, Bruce, which is very, very rare. Have a look at this.
What is that?
It's an SOE, Special Operations Executives, silk code sheet to transpond home with the SOE radio. It's made of silk, so it could be hidden as a handkerchief.
Yeah, I like that. It's really nice, Daniel. It's exactly the sort of thing we're after. Somebody's actually used this and decoded stuff there.
The Special Operations Executive was Britain's resistance unit. Its nickname was Churchill's Secret Army, and it sent undercover agents all over Nazi-occupied Europe. But SOE operatives were a right mixed bag. They hired canny criminals straight out of the prison system, and about a quarter of the agents were women who were trained to kill, lie, burgle and seduce, all to send secrets back to Blighty. To do this, they needed codes. The head of the cryptography unit was Leo Marx, who insisted that keys to codes carried by spies should be printed on silk.
Silk? Why do you think silk?
Well, it's durable. You know, if it was paper, it might get ripped. It's washable. It's lightweight. It could be hidden as a handkerchief.
I mean, you imagine that mounted in a nice frame on the wall in a small resistance stroke special operations executive display. It'd be awesome.
It's interesting.
The million-dollar question is, how cheap is it?
I was going to ask you £1,200 for it.
£1,200 ranky. That's a lot of money, mate. I mean, you got some movement on that? £900?
My last price would be £925.
£925?
Yeah.
£925. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that, mate.
It's going to break my heart to pass this on, but it will go perfectly with the spy radio I bought earlier. The spy who used this hanky must have had a lot of guts and nerves of steel, not to mention a very dangerous pencil.
Listen, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for the bits. I'm really happy with them, mate. I'll keep in touch. Thanks, mate. Come on, you've got a long drive.
Daniel's really saved my bacon today with the items I bought. They are spot on for what that museum in France wants. Sue has got us on the first flight to Guernsey, the second largest of all the Channel Islands. The island is just 50 kilometres off the French coast, but it's been part of the British Isles since 1066, apart from a brief spell under A. Hitler.
It's all very nostalgic coming back here, because this is the place that I came in 1970 as a kid that really got my interest in military history going. This place oozes history, believe me.
Germany conquered the Channel Islands in 1940 without a fight. Churchill knew it was strategically impossible to defend them. For 5 years, almost the entire war, the islanders lived under Nazi rule until their emancipation on the 9th of May 1945.
You can imagine what life was like here at that time.
That's like a snapshot of what life could have been like under the jackboot if they'd have taken England.
Well, and they very, very nearly did, believe me, you know.
Hitler was sure that Britain would try to recapture the islands, so he had them heavily fortified. You could still see bunkers everywhere. And out of sight, underground, the Nazis dug an amazing tunnel complex, which I'm eager to check out.
So, if you look straight in front of you there is one of the defensive towers. That's what I'm here to look at.
I'm seeing the tower tomorrow morning, so our first port of call is our B&B.
Hello. Hello, Christine. Yes.
Hello,
Sue.
Christine. I'm Sue, yes.
Hi, Christine, I'm Bruce. Pleased to meet you.
I'm Freddie.
Freddie,
Hiya.
grab our bag, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sue is normally the one that picks the hotels. But I've booked Christine's place because I've heard her and her son have a little private hoard of historical goodies. So while Sue unpacks, Freddie and I are going to have a rummage in her garage.
Have you got bits and pieces here from the occupation, you reckon?
Probably.
Who needs a hotel pool when you've got a shed full of war relics?
Can we have a look through? Is it all right?
Have a good mooch.
This is exactly how I first started finding stuff when I was first here in 1970. There was all kinds of stuff just sitting around in an outbuilding outside, so... There you are, look at that. Look at the outline of the aircraft. That's
a big airfix box or something.
No, that's for aircraft recognition training.
Plane spotters, unlike train spotters, played a vital role in the war. Identifying a plane from its silhouette was the only way to prevent a trigger-happy battery gunning down one of its own. So kids' toy makers spent the war producing scale models of warplanes. Not for fun, but to help train the military.
Lysander, look, Hudson, Whitley, Wellington, Hamden. Look at that, that's interesting, that's very nice.
This German set would have been filled with scale models of Allied aircraft to help German gunners identify enemy planes.
There'd have been 2 layers in this, so they obviously had these ones in the bottom, and there's clamps to hold them, look. See the clamps? So that's all been... It's interesting.
But unfortunately, without its original models, not very saleable. No bother, as Christine's son Ollie's here, and I've heard his stuff is rare and unique to the island.
We're the strangers looking in your shed. Morning. How you doing? I'm Bruce. Pleased to meet you.
Yeah.
Freddie.
Hi,
This is
nice to
Freddie.
meet you.
But your mum said you might have some bits that we might be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I brought some bits down for you to have a look at.
Oh, helmets as well. Yeah.
Well, these are interesting. The slave workers made these to swap for food with the locals. I mean, there's that big one, and then there's 2 little ones.
To build their fortifications and dig their tunnels, the Germans shipped 6,000 slave labourers onto the islands. Slavs and Jews from Poland and Russia were imprisoned in the only concentration camp ever built on British soil. The Nazis called them Untermenschen, or racial inferiors. They were considered beneath contempt, and many were simply starved or worked to death. Right here on a British isle, slaves had to barter with SS guards to get food and drink. Since they had no money, the prisoners made beautiful little artefacts like these, using what materials they could find.
You've got to think how talented some of these people are, and then they've been dragged away from their homes and put to work on building bunkers.
So this is the same as making a ship in a bottle, yeah?
Then they would have slid them through the neck and then pulled them into place with cotton, and then the water went in there, and then they swelled and stayed in position.
They're incredible, mate. I mean, would these people sell, or one of them, or possibly...
I don't really want to sell the big one, because I've always maybe wanted to let that go in a museum eventually, but I may let one of the smaller ones go.
I'd be interested in one of these, yeah?
It's going to have to be about 150 quid, Bruce, because again, with the history behind it...
No, this whole thing about prisoners of war and people that were in that position, I find very interesting. Heart-rending as well. So, for £150 for that, I've got to be honest with you, yeah, I wouldn't even argue. Yeah, I'll have that, £150.
Brilliant.
That small bottle is, to me, such a moving piece of history. A little human reminder of the inhumanity of the Nazis.
So, listen, we've got something, we've only been here an hour. So what else we got in there?
Right, there's something that's a little bit different, but it's very interesting. It was, these little badges were made during the occupation as a form of resistance. You've got the V for victory and the King's head on there.
Well, I'll be.
Well, they just carved them out of a bit of metal or something.
They got a coin. They fretted them out of a coin, and then they sweated the V on the bottom of them. And what they'd done, they wore them under their lapels. When they seen one another in the high street or passing, they would flash them and then flash them back.
So it's a little bit of resistance, but you've got to be careful, yeah?
The V sign was used as a symbol of resistance across occupied Europe, as a piece of graffiti or as a morale-boosting gesture. Used one way, it stood for victory or freedom, and the other way, the Brits used it as a defiant insult to the Germans.
It's basically sticking 2 fingers up at the regime, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I have a love for this island, I'd love to own one of these. How much would you let me have that for?
If you're keeping it for yourself, not resale, you can have it for 50 quid.
Oh, lovely. Done that. Thank you. Listen, I've got to be honest, if I go home with just that, I'll be a happy man.
I'm not out to make money on this. It's a symbol of human spirit, decency and bravery. So to me, it's priceless.
Right, what else we got in there?
These books were printed here during the war for the Germans.
Okay.
I mean, had all the islands in them.
So it's a sort of book to familiarise the occupying troops.
Know a little bit about the history of the island and a bit about the
Look at that
culture.
policeman there, look.
Yeah. I mean, the
Bobby. Yeah, I'm interested in that. How much would that be?
100 quid, Bruce.
100 quid. I ain't even going to argue with it. I find that really interesting because it's the sort of thing that they probably got issued with, read, and then sent home to show that they weren't on the Eastern Front or something like that. And it's in really good condition, very good condition. No, that's nice. Yeah, thanks for that. Great.
Nice little bit.
Lovely. That book's so detailed it would work as a guide nowadays, as long as you speak German.
No, lovely. I'm chuffed with that. Right, what else you got in there, Al? It's a Kriegsmarine helmet, yeah?
It's got a nice net on it.
The Kriegsmarine were the German Navy, and you can tell this is their helmet from the special eagle on the side.
That's nice. Have a look.
I guess people do assume that if you're in the Navy, you're at sea on a ship.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
they were actually responsible for
Most
the
of the
defences
batteries, yeah.
along all the coast.
So, I mean, what sort of money would that be?
It's got to be 1,000 quid, Bruce.
I mean, because of the history behind it, I'd give you 800 quid. 800 quid now.
Done deal, mate. Okay.
Kriegsmarine helmets are always in demand and easy to shift, as long as the price is right.
Great start of the trip, Ollie. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Freddie.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Freddie.
See you later.
Catch you later on. Cheers, Ollie. Tom, mate. Yeah, Sue, look, there it is. That's the Martello Tower.
Oh, I see it, yes.
It's virtually on its own little island.
I'm in the Channel Islands with Sue and Freddie to buy a Martello Tower, which is an ancient lookout tower adapted by the Germans during the Nazi occupation. Not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, to actually own one would be a dream.
Oh, there he is. His name's Ross. Pull up here.
Ross is the estate agent who will show us around.
Ross, good morning.
Good morning, hello.
This is it. Looks lovely, doesn't it, eh? It's Fort Samurai. That's how you pronounce it,
That's
yeah?
correct, yes.
Did you bring a brochure for
I
me?
certainly did, yeah, here we are. There we are.
Freddie. Oh, you can have a look.
Yeah, by all means.
You can pick the bunker you'd like to stay in.
5 million? That's a bit much for a bunker, Bruce.
There's the rub. The tower is in the grounds of a luxury villa with tennis courts and all the fixings. I just want the tower, but I think I've made a tactical error bringing Sue along because she's now eyeing up the accommodation.
I hope we will be able to see the house as well.
We'll see. We're going to have a look.
I have to see this. I'm just looking at the footprint of it, Bruce. Look at that.
Yeah. OK, we'll lead on then, if we can then, Ross. That'd be great.
Let's head over this way.
Oh, Bruce, look at this. I think this is what you're looking for.
Very much so. So that's the original sort of Martello Tower, the bottom half, yeah?
Yeah, that was definitely the concept.
The lower part of the tower is more than 200 years old, built by the British to guard against French invasion. The smooth concrete top half was added by the Germans during the war to guard against the British. But all these fortifications were never put to the test. Churchill didn't believe the islands were strategically important and they remained under Nazi rule for the entire war. It means this tower is in perfect condition. Anywhere else in Europe and it would be riddled with bullet holes.
You going to get up there?
I think I'm going to pass on this one, guys, and check out the views.
All right, you go and have a look at the views.
Have fun.
OK, all right. Up you go, Freddie.
Sue might want a nosy around the house and gardens, but if she wanted a room with a view, she should have climbed up here.
Oh, blimey, this is the real thing, mate. That's fantastic. Look at the views here.
Is that another tower over there on that outcrop?
Yes. Yeah, there's a whole network right the way along the coastline.
So you've got to imagine these things were manned 24 hours a day. So there was somebody in this room just scanning the horizon. If they saw something, they would send the information back to the famous Mirus batteries you've got up on the hills there.
To defend the islands, they had 4 huge Mirus guns, which the Germans pinched from a World War I Imperial Russian warship. A Mirus gun could take out a ship 30 kilometres away, but for targeting, it relied on the lookouts in the towers. The guns were vulnerable to air attack, so those cunning Germans disguised them as holiday cottages to hide them from Allied bombers.
You can see why the original Martello tower was here, can't you?
Quite right.
They've got fantastic field of vision here.
This tower will be of historic interest 1,000 years from now. Now that's what I call a solid investment. Castle Crompton.
That tower is just awesome. Absolutely awesome. I mean, the whole place is fantastic. The tower would be a dream come true to me. I mean, is there a chance that the owners would be prepared to split it and maybe let the tower go separately?
Wouldn't like to dismiss the fact of maybe the house as well, because it is stunning. It's something very special.
I know it is, but I'm sure you'd have to break your piggy bank, my dear. But we'll see.
I'll have a word with the owner,
yeah,
and I'll see what he has to say about that, and maybe I could get back to you on that.
Lovely. OK.
Time to scarper before my Sue drops me in it with a £5 million bill.
5.3 million? You've got to be having a laugh, haven't you, you know?
That's a lot of money to pay for a bedroom that's in a bunker.
Well, I'm
not going to live up the top of it.
Well, it's lovely, don't get me wrong. I know, I mean, we'd have to drop Freddie's wages.
I'm on the hunt for unusual items that will tell the story of the hidden heroes of D-Day. The army of people working behind the scenes to make the invasion a success.
Some guy, I haven't seen him for maybe 15, 20 years, phoned me up out of the blue, and he was saying, I met this old geezer the other week. He's still driving the tractor that he was given in World War II.
The soldiers who scrambled onto the Normandy beaches had to fight through German defences and barricades. But you can't do that with your bare hands, so they use special military bulldozers. So this could be a gift.
So who are we actually meeting here today?
Well, we're going to see a guy called Owen, but he's getting on a bit, so I've been in touch with his granddaughter, Jo.
Right. Hello? Hello, mate, I'm Bruce, pleased to meet you. Hello, mate, I'm Bruce, pleased to meet you. All right, this is Freddie.
Hello.
All right.
Owen is the grand age of 86 and worked a farm as a lad during the war.
How comes you've got this one, then?
Ex-army.
Oh, it's ex-army, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Oh, lovely. Can we have a look? Can we pull the cover off?
Yeah, of course, yeah,
Let's have a
that's
look.
fine.
Now, Freddie, this is where your expertise comes in. Hang on. Oh, Freddie, look at this. Fantastic. Very nice.
The continuous tank, or caterpillar track, was pioneered by an American engineer called Benjamin Hull, who started the Caterpillar Company. He built thousands of these dozers for the Allies, and they were invaluable on and just after D-Day. Not just breaking through German beach defences, but for clearing roads, towing vehicles stuck in the sand, and thousands of other things. The US Army didn't want to put Caterpillar out of business by flooding the home market with ex-military dozers. So many of them, like this D4 dozer, were left behind.
So do you know what year it is?
It was 1940 on the clock, but you see, I went to the war.
Right, OK.
Ex-army, you see, they came back and they reconditioned them.
This dozer has a second engine called a donkey engine, which is used instead of the battery to start up its hefty 4-cylinder, 35 horsepower main engine. Does a donkey engine start on the key?
No. Got a bit of muscle.
Huh?
You got a bit...
you got to crank it over.
That starts on a rope.
Oh, mega. Like starting an old car with a hand crank, this dozer starts the same way, except you use a piece of rope. It sounds simple, but I've never actually done it. All right, Owen, you're going to have to come and give us a hand with this, because I wouldn't know where to begin.
For start, you want your rope, and you put your rope round the pulley.
Yep.
There's your choke, there's your throttle.
Yep.
And then your bendix is here.
The what?
Bendix.
It's not easy. The dozer's over 70 years old, the instructions are in thick Sussex English, and the starter is a piece of string. Right.
You got all that, Freddie?
Now we've got to wind the rope round, yeah?
Wind the rope round it, yes. It's got to come in this way, you see. You put it through there, you see.
Yeah. And now we just got to pull it.
That's you should pull it now, that should go.
There you go.
OK. Ready?
Yes, go on then.
Call me Freddie, the donkey whisperer.
Owen's been using it on his farm for years, which has kept the engine ticking over.
Sounds great.
put that right down and pull this out.
It's not bad.
You don't have to shout.
There aren't many of these dozers left, but to me, the guys that drove them on the Normandy beaches were as heroic as the guys with guns.
How much are you going to ask for it?
Well, I think it's got a lot
Sit down, talk to Uncle Bruce.
It's got a lot of sentimental value, hasn't it,
I
Grandad?
did a lot of sentimental value there.
That's 50 quid.
A bit more than that.
Come on in.
I think probably about 7.5 grand.
Oh. Good job I'm sitting down. That's quite a bit more than I thought.
Right.
Listen, it's nice, don't get me wrong, and I'd like to buy it, but I seem to feel that £5,000 is the right price for this.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, we was hoping for a bit more, weren't we, Grandad?
A bit more.
Didn't we? A bit more than that. So maybe, say, 6,000?
6 grand.
Yeah.
Got yourself a deal.
Lovely.
Do it with me.
That's a fair price for a wartime D4 dozer. I can make a decent profit selling it on, but I confess it would break my heart to see it go.
I'm very happy. That'll go to a nice home. That's the good news. The bad news is Freddie's got to drive it home.
Good luck.
With the D-Day Dakota, D-Day D4 dozer and other D-Day items, I'm doing well. And today I'm off for more D-Day delights down in Dorset.
Who's this guy we're going to see today?
He contacted us by email, and apparently he's moving his museum from here to France.
An old Dorset contact of mine called Gary Stern has decided to start a war museum in Normandy. But he has more D-Day artefacts than he can use, so he's invited me along.
Oh, how are you, Gary? All
I'm
right?
great, thanks. How are you? You
Yeah,
okay?
fine, really busy as normal up the wall. Is there stuff here?
Yeah, it's just up the road, but it's on a private estate.
All right, listen, we'll just follow you then.
OK, superb.
Cheers, mate.
Gary's got much of his kit already in storage, and like a lot of collectors, its location is top secret.
Blooming hell. Dear, you've got some tackling here, haven't you? Blooming hell, Gary. Do you know what's in here? Can we pull some of this out then,
Yeah,
Gary,
pull it
just to
out.
see what the score is? So what are they, Gary? Egg cups?
Yeah, they're German naval egg cups. They're marked, German property marked on the bottom.
When the Third Reich came to power, they took control of the country's porcelain factories and got them to produce everything from toilets to egg cups for the Wehrmacht. But from the get-go, fresh eggs were in short supply in wartime Germany, so it was powdered eggs all round, which is why these egg cups look unused.
How much are these, Gary?
Well, retail's 8 to 10 quid each.
If I had a few, you'd do me a deal, don't you?
Of course I can, yeah, I can do.
How much for a dozen?
75.
75 quid, yeah? Lovely, ain't even going to argue.
Nothing to do with D-Day, but I love items like this. Fascinating bit of history and affordable to collectors who are just starting out. Gary's lockup is stuffed. There's bits all over that catch my eye.
Oh, hold on, that's a control panel for a glider.
I want that.
Where I go, Bruce. That's handy.
So's that. What's that up there? Another German helmet?
Yeah, it's a Luftwaffe one, that.
I could go crazy here, but it's D-Day stuff I'm after.
I know what I've got that you might be interested in here. It's a military medal, but this one's been issued to a guy who was the first tank to hit the beach on D-Day.
No.
Yeah, and here's his certificate for his exceptional service, and it says, in command of a flail tank, his was the first to touch down at HR on D-Day in Normandy.
That's incredible.
The Normandy beaches were laced with thousands of German landmines, which killed and maimed scores of Allied soldiers. To clear a path through them, flail tanks were used. These would literally flail the ground with spinning chains to set off mines. Kind of a cross between a tank and a combine harvester. Incredibly scary and dangerous to drive. Being a flail tank crew on D-Day took guts.
Is that possibly for sale, Gary?
It's not something I'm going to sell now, unfortunately. Oh. I want to keep it for the museum, and I think that's where it belongs, in all fairness.
This is the problem with trying to do business with a museum curator.
Right, but is there something I can buy here?
OK, I've got 3 rare fanny uniforms here.
No giggling in class. The First Aid Nursing Yeomanry, or Fanny, started off as a unit for female nurses.
It was a First World War unit that went on into the Second World War and did a lot of spying in Europe for the Brits.
Those charming Fanny nurses were transformed into deadly secret agents working with the Special Operations Executive. They acted as assassins, spies and saboteurs behind the enemy lines. 13 of them were captured and murdered by the Gestapo.
Lots of them became very famous after the war for their bravery, but these were the uniforms that they would have worn on service in England, so they could blend in as military personnel.
These uniforms are perfect examples of unsung heroes working behind the scenes of D-Day. Fanny agents would have risked their lives to provide valuable information for the invasion, maybe even for those detailed D-Day plans I've just bought.
And what sort of money would they be?
They're 250 a jacket.
So you're saying 250 quid? There's 150 quid each.
I'd need a bit more than that. I think 200.
So 600 for the 3, 550 for 3. Go on.
575.
You're hard, man.
OK.
I don't know if I'll ever make a profit on these, but such is the unimaginable bravery of the women who wore these uniforms, I've just got to have them.
Gary, I'm chuffed with that, mate. Really been a really good pick, isn't it?
We're going to see an old friend of mine called Joe. The guy has got an art of gold. If you're looking for the more unusual items connected with D-Day, Joe's your man. He gets really nice stuff. I've been dealing with Joe for years, and he's well known in the militaria circles for laying his hands on the quirkier items.
Give him a toot.
Joe!
Hey!
How we doing, my friend?
Right, long
time no see. You keeping well? Nice to see you, mate. Listen, this is Freddie.
Hi, Joe.
Nice
Freddie,
to meet
how are you?
Joe's house is so round with kit, he's had to buy old shipping containers to store the surplus. And there's nothing I love more than surplus.
Have a look at that little lot. I weren't expecting to see that inside the shipping container.
Oh, that's great, mate.
Loads of stuff in here.
Joe, can I have a rummage round?
You help yourself, guys.
Anything we're into, I'll bring up forward.
With pleasure, there's more room in there for you two.
Joe's stock is what you might call eclectic. World Wars, Boer War, you name it, all jumbled up.
There's all kinds of bits and pieces here. Tapered shells. That's nice, look at that.
We're meant to be looking for D-Day kit, but Bruce is like a kid in a sweet shop.
Joe, you got some really nice stuff here, stuff I've never seen. Just close the door, I'll sleep in here.
Keeping the boss on point is like herding cats up a hill.
Lovely stuff here. That's nice. That's nice. Right, while we're here, little grenade box. How much that? Yeah? How much that?
To you, 50 quid, Bruce.
I ain't even gonna argue. Lovely, thanks, mate. Yeah, nice, that's lovely.
You can always shift a grenade box, but suddenly I spot something I haven't seen before.
This dartboard.
Yeah.
It's fascinating me, right? What's the story behind that?
That was something that was sold by ARP Supplies.
Yeah.
Early on in the war.
Right.
It's called Blitzkrieg, and it was just a fun game played by darts.
Right.
World War was all-consuming. War movies, war songs, war books, and even war games. Typical Joe to have a Blitzkrieg dartboard.
How much that then, Joe?
About $3.75 on that, I'm afraid. It's a lot, but it's super rare. I've never seen another one.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. And it's quirky, so I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 2.5. How's 2.5?
Ooh. It's $3.50, Bruce.
You've only knocked 25 quid off. Listen, 300. It's the most I can do. It's a dartboard.
Ooh.
Come on, 300.
Go on, then.
Right there, 300.
Go on, man.
Another one done as well. I mean, it's the most expensive dartboard ever been bought in history.
I'm betting that dartboard's one of a kind.
That's nice. Right, what's next, Tim?
You were saying you're feeling a bit peckish, Bruce, so I found you a little box of biscuits for the journey home.
This is right up our street. I mean,
You like that, do you?
Army issued, unopened pack, hardtack. The nearest thing I can imagine what hardtack biscuit today is like a bonio, but a square one.
The D-Day troops carried emergency rations like this in their knapsacks. These long-lasting so-called hardtack biscuits were made from flour, water, and if you were lucky, salt. A far cry from custard creams, but there was a war on.
How much that, Joe?
To you, Bruce. 100 quid.
100 quid.
There's probably 100 biscuits.
Exactly. I was just working out how much for a biscuit. Lovely, I'll have that, mate.
Thank you.
No problem with that at all. I like that.
I'll just stop him meeting them on the way home.
Yeah, we'll have a big flask of tea. You'll be well away.
Seems a lot for a tin of 70-year-old biscuits, but it's a bargain. And then I spot something that might make this trip very worthwhile.
Joe, can I wheel the well bike down, yeah?
With pleasure, Bruce, of course.
Let's pull it out. I am obviously a little bit nervous because I'll probably need a seat to ask you how much this is.
Well, how deep a pockets have you got,
Put it
Bruce?
on there, eh? I mean, a well bike, for me, I've been trying to get hold of one. There ain't many original ones again.
Nope.
Produced for the airborne forces, loaded into containers, dropped out by parachute, reassembled on the ground.
Yeah.
The well bike was specifically designed as transportation for paratroopers behind enemy lines on D-Day. The manufacturers claimed it could be assembled and running in just 11 seconds.
Look, a little tag, pull the tag, handlebars fold down. I mean, this is down at the minute, but you can raise the seat up and down.
So
look how compact that is.
Does it run all right?
Yeah, it runs fine.
As an ex-para, I'm passionate about all things para-related. And this strange little vehicle is something really special.
That's interesting to me. I mean, what sort of money would that be?
Ooh.
Brucey price.
You won't like it, Bruce. It'd have to be about 14,000.
14,000?
Yeah.
Joe, listen, 14 grand's just too much. I thought they'd go for about 9.5 grand.
Which wheel would you like, Bruce?
Ah, come on.
Come on, you can come up a bit.
10 grand.
Best price, final price, Bruce. You bought a lot today. The very best would be 12,000, I'm afraid, and I think that's a bargain.
12 grand. All right, listen, on the cuff, I'll take a chance of that, Joe.
Good luck.
All right.
Look after it.
Okay, yeah, I will. Well, it won't want me sitting on it to start.
That's why I've sold this, not for me.
Yeah, it's not,
That's a big price tag for a little motorbike. But as unusual D-Day memorabilia goes, it doesn't get better than this.
Joe, it's been a pleasure, mate.
You're always welcome.
You look after yourself.
Good luck, safe journey,
Thanks,
gentlemen.
mate.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Cheerio.
Freddie, you have had some blinding ideas, but this ain't one of them. I am absolutely freezing here.
I'm on my way to the legendary airfield Biggin Hill to drop off a wartime American Jeep.
This is probably the most iconic airfield of the Battle of Britain.
The Battle of Britain is up there with Waterloo and Trafalgar as one of the battles that determined the course of British history. Immediately following Britain's hasty retreat from Dunkirk, one of our biggest ever defeats, Hitler wanted to press home his advantage and invade Britain. But before the German troops could land, they had to control the skies. So Hitler sent in the Luftwaffe with 900 fighters and 1,800 bombers. The British RAF was vastly outnumbered with fewer than 700 fighters, including the famous Spitfires that were based here at Biggin Hill.
Yeah, look at them in there. Yeah, a bit different to what we do, innit?
These workshops are devoted to restoring super rare Spitfires. They're run by former commercial pilot Peter Monk. The public can even pay to fly in one of his Spitfires, and he also has a wonderful World War II museum.
Peter, how the devil are you, all right? Good trip down here.
Yeah.
Listen, there she is. Have a look at it. Runs well, starts on the button, mate, believe me.
Fire it up, Peter, see how it goes.
Oh dear.
It was a long drive. It's probably run out of fuel.
There you go.
Perfect.
Fine. Engine sweet's fine, mate.
Peter wants this Jeep for driving his paying customers around the base and has agreed to pay a tidy 9 grand for one that has all the original trimmings, if he likes it.
Perfect, Bruce.
Thank you, mate.
Exactly what we need, Bruce. It's fine. Perfect.
Music to my ears. Peter's got a top-notch Jeep to buzz around Biggin Hill, and I've got a nice chunk of change in my pocket.
Can we have a look round in here? I can't believe what I'm seeing in here.
If you've got a few minutes.
Yeah, we've got a few. I've got a few hours with things like
Let's
that.
go and have a look.
Look at this. I mean, hell. So that hurricane, can I just have a look? I mean, I've never been this close to a hurricane, to be quite honest with you.
In the Battle of Britain, more German planes were shot down by Hurricanes than by Spitfires. But it was the nimble Spitfire that pilots all wanted to fly.
Entire assembly line, right from a bare fuselage up to the almost finished product.
Just over 20,000 Spitfires were ever built, but sadly just 55 are still airworthy today. And a lot of those seem to be sitting in Peter's shed.
How many Spitfires have you actually got here?
We've got 13 Spitfires
13?
in the States at the moment, yeah.
It's amazing.
The Battle of Britain started in June 1940, and in the first 6 weeks, the RAF lost about 320 planes. But in those same 6 weeks, our factories churned out double that number of new Spitfires. To the astonishment of the Germans, despite their best efforts, we had more planes at the end of the Battle of Britain than we had at the start. Producing lots of planes in a hurry is hard enough. Producing experienced pilots is impossible. Many pilots were killed, and to replace them, lads were being sent up with just 10 hours of solo flight training.
This one here on the right, flown by a 19-year-old that became an ace on it.
A 19-year-old?
Yeah.
Then, out the corner of my eye, I spot the evil arch-enemy of the Spitfire, the Messerschmitt 109. It was a deadly foe during the Battle of Britain, and now a creature which is all but extinct.
One of only 2 left in the world.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's mint. What sort of money is one of these now?
Well, if you've got $15 million in your pocket...
15 million?
The 109 was actually a bit faster than the Spitfire at low altitudes. But what counts in a dogfight is agility. And there, the Spitfire won hands down.
I didn't realise that you had German stuff here, to be quite honest.
There's an interest, a big interest in German aircraft. And not just planes, we're interested in German wartime vehicles as well. And one in particular that we're looking for, which you might be able to help with, is a German Kubelwagen.
You're after a Kubelwagen?
Yep.
Listen, Peter, I can definitely help you with the Kubelwagen.
The Kubelwagen did for the Germans exactly what the Jeep did for the Allies. But whereas the Americans churned out over 500,000 Jeeps, the Germans struggled to produce just 50,000 Kubels. And because there's less of them, they're more expensive. Yeah, they're becoming rare, but I can definitely help you with one of them. Peter wants the Kubel for his museum, and I think it would look lovely parked alongside the 109. Is there anything else you're after as well, though?
Well, as you can see by our restorations, we need lots of aircraft parts. In particular, Battle of Britain. So any parts, curios that you could help with.
I will find you the best Kubelwagen this side of Berlin and many other parts if I can get my hands on them for you. I can talk the talk, but there ain't many Kubels about, and the people that own them rarely want to sell them.
Well, Peter, thanks a lot. Had a super day. I'm glad you're happy with the Jeep. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Peter. Ta-da, mate. Right. Where's the car?
You just sold it.
A Sherman is one of those iconic vehicles that any collector really wants to have. They're awesome things. The bloke selling this tank is a contact of mine called Gavin. He's been into American military vehicles since he was a teenager. The tank's only just come on the market, and because we've done deals in the past, Gavin's given me first dibs, but I've got to move fast.
Now, he's given me a price, but until we've seen it and we see what the score is and how it drives, all bets are off.
That's it, that's the Sherman. Look at that. What an amazing beast. Well worth doing the red eye for.
Gavin? Oh, hello, mate, all right? Pleased to see you, all right? You remember Freddie?
I do.
Hi, Gavin.
Hey,
See you again.
Yeah.
You might have washed it for me, you know what I mean?
It's got that combat look.
Yeah. So it's a 1943.
1943 built for the Canadian troops.
Around 50,000 Shermans rolled off the US production lines, but I can count on my fingers the ones that are running in Britain. It wasn't just the Americans who used them. Made in the US, they were lent out to all the Allies, including the Russians. The British were given 17,000. By 1943, the Sherman was the key British battle tank, but they had a fatal flaw.
These things burst into flames, and the Germans nicknamed them Tommykos.
That's it.
And I think the British called them Ronsons, didn't they, after the lighter.
They called them Ronsons and Tommy Cookers because by 1942 the Germans had built heavy tanks that could rip through the Sherman's armour. A hit from a German Tiger could turn your Sherman into an inferno of burning petrol and ammo, which is partly why there ain't more Shermans about.
Right. Well, I think they're a little bit more slender in them days.
Well, you're trying to tell me something.
Oh dear, there's no room in here at all.
So, Freddie, what's it like inside? You've disappeared, mate.
Not bad, it's quite complete.
Is it?
It's going to need a bit of a clean-up, it's well lived in. The inside looks stripped bare, but that's how they were. They wore helmets, not to stop bullets, but to stop them being knocked unconscious inside the tank.
Without further ado, then, I would love to listen to it. Is that possible?
It is.
OK, all right. Right, let's hear this baby roar then, yeah?
Most Shermans were made in Detroit by companies like General Motors and Chrysler, who knew a thing or two about mass production. But a small number, only 188, were made in Canada, and this is one of them.
Oh!
That makes it interesting, rare and valuable.
Right, Gavin, listen, we need to go and have a chat, because I'm very keen.
This tank needs almost nothing doing to it. To make any profit, I need to seal a good deal now, but a running Sherman won't come cheap. Gavin's asking price is just shy of 200 grand.
Listen, I really do like it. The only thing is, obviously, I know what we talked about on the phone, like 195. I just think that's a bit top heavy. I don't want to get into a Dutch auction or a haggling war with you, but I honestly see this as it is now at 175. And if you're prepared to take 175, you've got yourself a deal.
175, yeah, I think...
It's like money on the table. I can have the deal today with you if you'll go at 175.
Today?
Today.
175.
Done.
Go on then.
That was easy, that was it. You might wash it, though. You know what I mean?
175 grand is a good price, but there's not much margin in there. I need to work out how to increase its value to turn a profit when virtually nothing needs doing to it.
Hello?
Hello?
Mrs. Crompton?
I am, yes.
We have a delivery for you.
Ah. My husband's been shopping again, I see. He used to buy things that fitted on a mantelpiece. My neighbours take deliveries for flowers, DVDs and groceries. With me, I have to sign for a 30-ton tank. The trouble with tanks is they can do a lot of damage. I've seen pictures of the ruins of Berlin, and I don't want that happening to my drive. OK, guys, keep everything good for me. I don't want the Sherman's tracks taken up half the tarmac, yeah?
Right.
No holes?
All right.
OK, let's get them up to here. Great stuff.
Tanks are noisy, so like with helicopters and planes, tank crews use hand signals to communicate with each other. Sue knows them well because she's been married to Bruce for over 30 years.
Nice one, mate. That's a really good job. Well done.
No worries.
Yeah,
Job
cool.
done.
I'm now the proud owner of a super rare Sherman tank, but it didn't come cheap.
175.
Done.
Go on.
You might wash it, though.
I need to find ways to add value to this tank. So Freddie and I are off to catch a ferry to Normandy, where there were lots of Sherman tank battles and hopefully some Sherman relics. Ammunition racks, machine gun mounts will all up its price. But before we go, I've arranged to meet a dealer in a pub car park of all places.
And there he is, Tom. I think he's pulling in. Morning, Tom. How you doing?
Bruce, very well, and yourself?
How you going? You all right?
Nice to see you.
Good, good. This is Freddie.
Hi, Freddie.
Tom, nice to meet you.
I don't make a habit of meeting men in car parks, but Tom is on his way to a trade fair and I want to nab him to get first dibs on his stock. That's because Tom's speciality is American World War II paraphernalia, so hopefully he'll have some Sherman-related items.
What are these?
OK, you might find these interesting. These are motion sickness pills.
Right.
So these were issued to all invasion troops. They're basically like a form of tranquiliser.
But that seems strange, the things that you would want to take yourself down when you're about to have a tear-up with the old Hermans.
There were famous stories of the guys landing in Normandy and actually falling asleep in the battlegrounds because they'd taken too many pills.
While the Allies were calming their troops down, the lunatic Germans were doing the exact opposite. They handed out tens of millions of tabs of pethertin, known these days as crystal meth, which made German soldiers fearless and aggressive, but also irritable and psychotic.
That's interesting. I've never seen those.
No, they're unusual.
How much are they?
We'd be looking at about £250.
Can Freddie try one first? He does like a kit once in a while.
I wouldn't recommend it.
In all fairness, 250. No, they're fine, nice, but I'll give those a miss.
Interesting as these pills are, I don't fancy taking them through customs to Normandy.
What else you got in here? Wartime photographs?
Well, little birdie tells me that you might have bought yourself a Sherman.
Yeah, news travels fast, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well,
can't keep a secret.
When you land a rare working Sherman, word gets out quick.
These are original personal taken photos of D-Day just off of Utah Beach of the 70th Tank Battalion.
Oh, is it? Oh, blimey.
So there's the pictures of the tanks covered up by camouflage nets and the convoy on their way to Normandy.
They're all Shermans, aren't they? Yeah.
They're all Shermans of the 70th Tank Battalion.
Yeah, look what he's put on the back of that. It says, on the way in. On the way in, see it?
Yeah. I can't begin to tell you how unusual D-Day photographs are of armoured units on their way to the beaches. Very, very unusual. Yeah, they were actually banned from taking cameras and taking photographs.
These photos are fascinating. A rare depiction of American troops on their way to Utah Beach with their Sherman tanks. But also they're taken by ordinary soldiers, which wasn't allowed. Allied governments wanted to control what people saw. They thought people would have no stomach for war if they saw what it was really like.
I mean, the fact that these are actual real photographs of somebody that was taking them on the morning of D-Day and there are Shermans, they're really interesting to me. You got a figure on these, Tom?
OK, be warned, they're not cheap.
Right.
We're going to be looking at about £50 a picture.
50 quid a picture? Blimey hell. It would be a terrible shame to break them up.
I totally agree, they've got to stay together.
But that's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 5, so it's 250 quid. I mean, how does buy 4 get 1 free work? I mean, £200, and then I'm keeping them all together, you know.
As you're going to keep them together, let's do it. You've twisted me arm.
Yeah, OK, that's fine. They're interesting because, again, they're unpublished.
Unpublished, uncensored photographs of Sherman tanks on the most famous invasion in modern history, D-Day. They're not going to significantly increase the value of the Sherman, but they're not going to hurt. Interesting.
Right, that's great, Tom. We got to get going, mate. Thanks, Tom. Much appreciated.
Nice to see you, gents. Thank you very much.
Be in touch next week, mate. Ta-ra, mate.
We've come to War and Peace, the world's biggest festival of old wartime military hardware. Look at the size of it. It goes all the way over there. Look, it's huge.
100,000 people come here to buy and sell old military kit. It shows you how big this world is. There's repro stuff and plenty of original kit too. I reckon I can pick up some bargains if I keep my eyes peeled. Listen, there's some nice gear in here, mate.
Mobile phone?
It ain't a mobile phone.
Yeah?
Right. Again,
Yeah,
right?
can I call a cab, please?
Yeah, listen, that is a wartime American shortwave radio. This thing is considered the first ever handheld walkie-talkie, developed by the Galvin Company, who later became Motorola. It even came with a waterproof case. Every US and British platoon landed in Normandy on D-Day had at least one of these with them. 260. Is that each or...?
It's got to be each. Look, same one again. 260 quid a piece, and they don't even have a hands-free kit. Look. Like a gun.
Listen, it ain't a gun. It ain't a gun. What that is, right, believe it or not, it's a torch. And it's a torch for Pathfinder units. Pathfinders were the first people that landed. Pathfinder units were first used in World War II. Elite paratroopers that were dropped ahead of the main forces to recce and set up drop zones. It was a dangerous but crucial job, and communication was central to their task. They'd normally handle with this. Yeah, look.
Yeah.
So that would be put on there, and basically what they would do is they would fire it
in Morse code and identify where they were on the ground to the aircraft. And that is a torch. Look down there. See? It's battery operated in there.
No.
It's 300 euros.
So how much is that in pounds?
£260. Ain't a bad price, I've got to be honest with you. But it's not my cup of tea.
Oh, Bruce, what is that?
Well, you'd like that for weekends, wouldn't you? Do you know what that is? No. Try it on. Come here.
What is it?
Right, that is... Right, that is... So you open your mouth like that. It's a cold weather
Are you
mask.
serious?
Yes, so when you're in cold conditions, right? Right, it's something that will protect your face from the cold weather. These masks were lifesavers. In the Russian winter of 1941, temperatures fell to minus 40 degrees. In many battles, more soldiers were killed by the cold than by armed combat. The 6th Panzer Division alone suffered 800 frostbite casualties a day.
Yeah, Bruce.
What?
Come and have a look at this. Is that a real one, a rebar or
I'll
what?
tell you, inside,
Yeah.
that's a real one. That ain't cheap, right? Because of the black liner and the manufacturer's name, 1944, that's an original wartime airborne berry.
Serious?
Yeah, yeah. This distinctive headgear was adopted by the British Airborne in 1942 at the direction of General Frederick Browning. And if you think the colour is impractical, you're not wrong. Rumour has it was chosen by his missus. It's got the original King's Crown on it, right?
Yeah.
That's how you can tell whether it's wartime or whoever the monarch was. So you can have a King's Crown and a Queen's Crown. That's a King's Crown. The top section of the badge is meant to be a crown and an imperial lion. Some troops call it the dog and basket. The make is, I think it's Kanga. There you go. They're the main manufacturers for wartime berries.
I'd thought Kangol was a trendy fashion label. I had no idea they made World War II red berets. Let's find out how much they are.
There'll be at least £1,000 a piece.
£1,000.
There'll be
For a
1,000.
berry?
Yeah. Because you have to earn it.
Mate, I ain't touching that then.
Original berries like this go for silly money, but you can't do them up. So to see a return on your investment, you've got to sit on them for at least 10 years. Lovely things, but not to pick. Ah, yeah, look. Airborne radio stuff. These are the radio sets that they used at Arnhem and Normandy, right? Good communications in war are vital. And these number 38 Mark II radio sets were invaluable to the Allies. They had a range of 2 miles. Around 190,000 were made. But I've never seen a set in such mint condition. That, my friend, is a throat mic. Come here. That goes around there, okay? And that's how you communicate. These mics pick up vocal cord vibrations through dual sensors attached to the neck, so you can communicate even in the middle of a noisy battle.
Wow.
That is 70 years old, and look at the condition of it, right? Now, there are all kinds of components go with this. Look at that. It's all here, and it's all brand new. To find original kit in such good condition is rare. This is something special, and it wouldn't be breaking the bank, as I've seen them sell for up to 650 quid. How much that set complete?
I'm looking around £575.
That's a little bit more than I thought. I mean, I thought they were going for about 350 quid.
I'm willing to haggle with you, but that's a little bit too far out.
What's the best price you can do on it? Come on, give me a good deal here today. Sun's shining, you're in England, God's own country. Come on, what can we do with this?
Well, the very best would be £525.
Let's say 4 1/4, 425 quid.
Ooh. What about 5?
450.
75. 475. 475 and we have a deal. It's a rare radio.
Yeah, it's a rare radio, I must say. Is that gift wrapped?
It is indeed.
475. Job done. I'll have that.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, lovely. A number 38 Mark II radio set. Not bad. Bought for 475, worth 650, so that's a potential profit of 175 quid.
The thing weighs a ton. At least we can listen to the cricket on the way home.
The problem is, my Jeep is a bit of a mongrel. It's got a World War II body, but a post-war engine and wheels. If If I can replace them with original ones, it will bump up the price. And this is the place to find them. The War and Peace Show near Folkestone. But I reckon peace was a bit of an afterthought. There are hundreds of Jeeps and parts here, and I've brought my money man Hoos along to keep an eye on my spending. I want to get some Jeep engine parts, I want to get some first aid kits. I just want to have a general look round and see what we can find. Rightio. Before we search for an engine and wheels, I want some original Jeep accessories to make it even more authentic. I want little bits and pieces so that we can kit the Jeep out. You've got to root round this stuff though, mate. It's got to be original stuff. The stalls here have got loads of post-war gear, but mixed in with original World War II kit. The challenge for dealers like me is telling them apart. It looks what we're looking for, right? But it ain't what we're looking for. This is a post-war one. This one's wrong because it's got 4 clips on it. It should only have 2 clips on it and a hinge right the way down one side. This box isn't right for a wartime Jeep, so I'll have to hunt for one another time. What is this here?
A bandage, American 1943, yes.
Original wartime,
Original, yes, original.
What are these things here, these ones here? Are these a bigger one?
The big one, the big large first aid dressings.
Lovely, OK, all right. We take bandages for granted, but they're almost as important as a gun to a soldier. During World War II, a soldier had an 85% chance of survival if he was treated within an hour. So to reach injured troops fast, the US Army started filling Jeeps with first aid kits and used them as 4-wheel drive ambulances. Because of things like this, you were 10 times more likely to survive being wounded in World War II than in World War I. How much is that? What's that, £10?
It's 10 euros.
10 euros.
To be honest.
Oh, that's OK, it's even better. Listen, can I make a little bit of a pile and we'll have a little divvy up at the end?
We'll put them here.
All right, put them there. Can I just have a look at that mess tin? Is it an American one, yeah?
It's an American one. It's marked US. I think it's 44.
That's what we want. This goes in the Jeep. All the American troops used to carry it. See where that's been burned. Do you have any of the heater things that go with it?
Yeah, the heater things, Second World War.
Lovely. So you'd open this, put it underneath, they put these on the bonnet, boom, and they cook on them straight away. These mess tins and burners are fantastic. Over 16 million Americans served in World War II. That's a lot of mouths to feed. The last thing you want to be carrying into battle is heavy cooking gear, and these little windproof burners meant troops could rustle up some hot grub under any conditions. But they did have a downside. Don't touch, they're poisonous, look. If you have these in a confined space, you'll keel over. It's like you're on brandy. These burners used a toxic alcohol, which if you drank it, could kill you. But the troops found ways to distill them and mix up a cocktail or two. I think I'll stick to the Baileys. We'll take 4 of them, yeah?
Yeah, no problem, Dan.
All right, because he's hungry. These accessories will make my Jeep more authentic. I had ear defenders and a gun strap to put together a bulk buy. Right, let's have a little tally up. Yep.
10, 12 is 22 and 30. 52, yep. 30 is 82, and the air defenders...
Times 2, yeah?
90. 90 altogether.
So what's my discount?
Your discount?
Come on, you've got to have a bit of discount here.
The best I can do is minus 10%. So,
no,
Belgian can count, so 90, 80.
80? 80. That's better than 10%. Job
okay.
Done. Lovely. I've got a good little deal there, I reckon. It's always worth asking for a discount, especially if you're buying a lot of stuff.
You all happy with your shopping now, then?
Yes, I am. Very, very happy.
We go home now?
No, we can't go home yet. Right, you know what we're looking for, but there's other stuff here we could be interested in. See these? These are the mounts, the 30 cal mounts. As well as filling Jeeps with first aid and cooking kit, the US Army also mounted weapons on them. Now, all Hoos and I have got to do is to find the right engine, and only a World War II original will do. Straight away, I can tell you, right, that ain't what we're looking for.
Show me.
The air filter's in the wrong place. It has the wrong carburettor on it. This is an ex-French Army post-war engine. That ain't what I want. I can buy them off the internet, right, to a penny.
So this is no good for us?
It's no good for us at all, mate. You're learning. I'm educating you.
You are, yeah.
Don't go back to school.
Come on,
see what else he's got here.
I'm none the wiser.
I can't tell these Jeeps apart. They look the same, but they ain't the same. Let me explain what happened. During the war, they wanted a general purpose vehicle, so they put a contract out to Willys and they put one out to Ford. Willys won it, but they couldn't produce enough. So because of the Ford, right, organisation with production line, Ford made them as well. The story goes that when the US Army wanted a new general purpose vehicle, the troops shortened it to GP, hence came the word Jeep. Working at full whack, Ford and Willys churned out a Jeep every 2 minutes, and every part the two companies produced was identical. They were all interchangeable. So you could take a Willys engine and put it in a Ford chassis. You could do vice versa as well, right? And they were made in their thousands. Over 650,000 Jeeps were made during the war, but only a tiny fraction of the ones that survive are 100% Ford or 100% Willys. It's got a Ford chassis, so I need a Ford engine. How do you spot an original part? Well, fortunately, the lads at the Ford factory left a few clues. You see in there's an F, denotes Ford. Right, look at that. See that on the top? Yeah. Ford. So everything we're searching for that we need to look for today has got to have that F stamp on it. Okay?
Points make prizes.
Absolutely. Points make money.
Yeah.
Finally, the penny's dropped. Now Inspector Husso is hot on the trail of an engine with an F stamp. Nothing can distract him, unless it's a big shiny silver thing with a handle. What? It ain't a siren for the Jeep. What is it? Well, it ain't for a Jeep. Look at the size of the thing. Air raid sirens were only removed from British towns 20 years ago. Hoos nearly started World War III with this one, but on the plus side, he stumbled across what we're looking for. That is a Ford engine. See that F there? Right, yeah. That's what I'm looking for. That's what we've been walking around like an idiot for. With all the accessories on, this will drop straight into an original Ford chassis. If I could get it for about £3,000, right, it'll whack up the value of that original Ford Jeep. This engine is spot on, and they stock the wheels as well. Happy days. I've got the wrong wheels on the front of mine. I've got the wide wheels. I don't really need the tyres. It's just the wheels that'd do me. All right.
Let's have a word with the geezer.
This engine, I see it's a wartime Ford engine, yeah?
Yeah.
Completely rebuilt.
Yeah.
Back to an original standard, I take it, yeah?
Yeah.
If I had the two wheels and the engine, how much that be?
Roughly €5,000.
So you're saying 5,000? What about 3,500? You got to do something on it for me.
The price is 5,000, but I can give you 4,500.
What about 3,500?
That's too low.
Oh, come on, what can you do to me? You know, I'm a cash buyer, bang, on the nose, paying the money straight away.
We can meet in the middle, 4,000.
4,000 euros for the two lots. Yeah. Put it there, lovely. Okay.
When Bruce splashes the cash, I get a bit twitchy, until I do a quick tally up. We budgeted 4,000 sterling for the engine and the wheels, and we got them for 4,000 euros. That's just £3,400. I reckon there's enough left over for Bruce to treat me to a novelty alarm clock.
You want that now, didn't you, eh?
I want it on my bedroom door, mate.
Yeah?
Nice.
Yeah.
Wake up time.
So keep the wife away, that's why. There's reenactment stuff here, there's repro stuff. There are hundreds of stories. The challenge to a dealer like me is to sniff out the valuable and authentic items before anybody else gets them.
Bruce, how are you doing?
I'm fine, mate, enjoying the sunshine. To do that, I rely on my network of contacts I've built up over 30 years. This guy's quite good. I've had stuff from him before. Mr. Ben.
Hey, Bruce.
How you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, good.
Nice to see you. This is my better half, Mr. Roos.
Hello.
Can we just have a look round and see what goodies and toys you got for us this year? My Dutch mate Ben has acquired some interesting new stock, and since we go way back, he's giving me first dibs. All these bits and pieces we could use, but we've got to be a bit selective on what we want. Oh, look, scaffold poles. Listen, they ain't scaffold poles. These are called Bangalore torpedoes, a fantastic bit of kit. These things are full of explosives. Bangalore torpedoes were invented by the British in 1912 and are still in use today. They screw together like pole sections of a chimney sweep brush
and then you slide them towards whatever it is you want to blow up. They're brilliant for clearing a path through minefields or massive barbed wire fences. Right, what else we got here? Ben, have you got anything quirky, little bits and pieces that we might be interested in?
Have a look at these.
What are they, mate?
AC delay capsules.
They look like Christmas tree lights.
They ain't Christmas tree lights. Are these time fuses?
Yes, British Second World War.
For what, 1 hour, 2 hours, or 1 day, 2 days?
Between 1 hour and 48 hours.
Right. Put that in your mouth and bite it.
Why?
Because you'll have a buzz of your life. Imagine you're a commando. You plant a bomb under a bridge. It needs to explode in 3 hours. You choose a colour-coded vial. Different colours have different detonation times. You add the vial to the fuse and smash the glass. The chemical inside slowly burns through a plastic disc that's holding back a spring-loaded firing pin. When the time's up, kaboom! These were very popular with the French resistance, who used them for blowing up railway tracks and Nazi war factories. Lovely, Ben. Have you got any of the other sort of delayed action things, the German ones, the bigger ones? Oh, can I have a look at that, mate?
Of course.
This thing is precision engineering that was designed specifically as a time delay fuse. And here you've got the workings of a Swiss watch. You can put massive charges over bridges, buildings, anything, and it will go off. It's got a really long delay. It could be set to trigger up to 21 days after arming. At the end of the war, the retreating Germans used them to booby-trap places like abandoned headquarters, hoping Allied officers would have taken up residence there by the time the clock hit 0. Is this all original, all numbered?
Yep. It's number matching,
Yeah.
the book, the fuse and the box.
Unbelievable, mate. I mean, that's really nice. They're really hard to find in this condition. I'm interested in that, Ben. Ben's little tip about his new stock really paid off here. I've sourced a very rare German 504 long delay fuse, 5 Bangalore torpedoes and 2 boxes of AC delay capsules. How much?
Okay, let me see.
Including Brucey bonus.
Yeah. 2100.
How much? Ben, you got a chair? I feel a bit faint. That's a little bit too heavy for me, I've got to be honest with you.
Okay, give me 1700 then.
Ah, you're killing me here, mate. 1700 for a couple of scaffold poles
You
and a
know
couple
it's
of
a
old
good
bits.
price. You know it's a good price, Bruce.
I think 1400 sounds about right.
Give me 1500 and we have a deal.
1500, done, mate. Thanks, mate.
Okay, Bruce.
£1,500 is a bargain for this lot. Sold off individually and marketed right, I'm looking to double me money. We're about to load up the motor when Ben gives us the lowdown on a recent business trip to Finland.
When I was there, I met a guy.
Right.
I went to this guy's house. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was full with cannons, all covered in the woods. And I went into his barn. Unbelievable. You could not walk.
You're joking.
So many items. He had German cannons, Pak 40, 105, Russian cannons, boxes, cases, everything you want.
I feel like Indiana Jones. When you hear about hordes of military artefacts, you pack your bags and go. If you don't, somebody else will. In Finland, the Second World War was actually 3 wars. The first against the Russians, the second one allied with the Germans against the Russians, and the third allied to the Allies against the Germans. It was like Piccadilly Circus up there. As a result, there still is a lot of unclaimed kit lying around in Finland's vast cold forests. If you can organise it, I will be there tomorrow.
Bruce, leave it with me.
Yeah,
I will take care of it.
I won't sleep now, you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Ben, thanks, mate. See you later, mate.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
I get quite emotional about what I do. because military artefacts are tangible reminders of sometimes heroic struggles. And one such World War II relic has just surfaced in Waterlooville in Hampshire, which is where I'm heading now.
I'm all excited. I've been here for years.
Dave Hucklebridge has been collecting militaria for the best part of 50 years. And like me, he's got an eye for the unusual.
Right, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Hey,
This is Freddie, right? Oh, lovely, Dave.
It's rammed, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Are they all ammo boxes?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to leave, mate. I'll only come down here to spend a couple of quid.
Although I'm here for something very specific, there's always a couple of surprises in Dave's quirky collection.
What is that?
That is a Mule, the saddle.
German, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
German vehicles were often brilliantly designed, but their factories failed to produce enough. So the German army relied on over 1 million horses and mules to transport men, guns, ammunition, food and other supplies to the front line. This saddle was designed to transport an 11-kilogram MG42 machine gun.
That actually fits on the top here, and then you could carry the box of ammunition on the side.
on the sides there.
Nice. I mean, don't get me wrong. For me, though, no. Honestly, it's not my cup of tea.
It's a fascinating piece, but I'm not betting on the GGs right now. And I'm a bit distracted because I've spotted the main reason I'm here. When you see it, you might think old Brucey's lost the plot, but let me assure you, this is special.
Is this the glider rib piece you told me about?
Yeah.
This is from a Horsa glider?
The rib of the fuselage.
Right.
Like if you go down, like if you imagine the fuselage as a tube.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ribs that would go all the way around the fuselage.
Right.
After the First World War, the Versailles Treaty stopped the Germans building military planes. They got round it by building gliders. In 1940, just 85 German paratroopers in gliders took the Belgian fortress of Eben-Emael. The British were so impressed, they started building their own gliders called Horsers. They were cheap, effective, but very dangerous. Lifted into the sky by a tug plane, the glider then made a slow, terrifying descent.
How many people were in these things?
The Horsa could be fitted with 32 seats, but I only ever really put 28 in because that's how many blokes was in an airborne platoon. Once they got on these things, it was definitely a one-way journey.
Lots of them didn't actually make their destination, did they?
How scary must it have been to fly and crash land in one of these? It was a one-way ticket into enemy territory, with no landing strip and no way of evading enemy fire. Once on the ground, a glider pilot wasn't going home, so he became part of the infantry. In one battle alone, the Battle of Arnhem, more than 200 of them were killed.
This is actually from the battlefield, yeah?
This is the section of a glider that was going to Arnhem. It was shot down and crashed. The crew were killed in it.
Right. I don't want to haggle about things like this because it's a little bit more than having a deal on something.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's something that'll be close to my heart.
I think the fair and the good price would be that £700.
£700. Job done, mate. Thank you very much.
No money to be made on this relic, but I don't mind. It's more important it survives as a reminder of the brave men who perished in Horses. I'll tell you, going to war in a glider would have had me reaching for something else I've spotted on Dave's shelves.
What's that, Edelweiss?
It's a toilet roll.
It's got a swastika on it. Do you know what? Listen, I've never in all my years seen that. Is that original? That ain't like reproduction toilet
No,
paper.
it's not reproduction, Bruce. 100%.
Wehrmacht. You wouldn't think they'd survived through the war. It probably all got used, I suppose, didn't it, you know?
Definitely.
Certainly towards the
But
end.
listen, Edelweiss, though, I mean, first of all, it ain't very manly, innit? You know, you're stuck in a tank, eating sauerkraut and sausage, people shooting at you, and it's called Edelweiss. You'd think it was called Who's Dropped One. That's tickled me pink. Have you got any pink?
No.
How much that worth? I've driven a long way today.
But £30.
£30?
£30.
For the two?
No, for the one.
I find that amusing, historically very interesting, most expensive toilet roll I've ever bought in my life.
Third right bog roll, I'm reminded of Chamberlain. I have in my hand a piece of paper. The Nazi wrapper says it's chemically pure, but I'd have to be caught very short to put that to the test.
That has made my day.
I fancy doing the same, but this isn't the place to pick up a deal on a gun. So I've sent my arms experts, Ian and Freddie, to hunt for one at Drop Zone Warehouse. This place specialises in old deactivated guns and it's packed with memorabilia.
Even got a helmet for you. Go with fireman's out.
Oh, Mega. I'll wear this one if you put that other one on. See ya. Yeah. Because we're doing a D-Day jump, Bruce is keen to fit the Jeep with a 30 calibre machine gun, just like the US paratroopers did during the war. Finding one amongst this lot is not easy. Luckily, weapons expert Dave Main's on hand.
So, anything that floats your boat?
Well, we're after a 30, not one of those.
The A6?
That just looks like a machine gun drawn by someone that can't draw.
America's best answer to a light machine gun at the end of World War II.
Yeah, but compare that to this, look. I know what one I'd pick. This is more like it, the 30 calibre M1919. M stands for model, 1919 the year it was invented. The Americans made nearly 500,000 of them during World War II. They could be used by infantry or mounted on armoured carriers and jeeps.
It's a nice gun, that one. That's a 42 dated one.
That's more like what we're after.
Yeah,
what's the date of your Jeep?
Ask me a question on sport.
OK, yeah. Well, I mean, it's certainly period, and it's got to be appropriate for the Jeep, but that's the one you want.
That's what we're looking for, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm an armourer, so I work on these things. Have either you ever fired one of these before?
No, not with them, no.
Do you like to fire one of these?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, yeah.
I've got one of these in stock. I've got a place down the road, and we could probably set that up.
If we buy the gun, it'll be a deactivated version, but Dave has a live one locked up for special occasions. Perfect. I'm a big fan of try before you buy. So we head down to this range to put a real one through its paces. The sun is shining. I've got a box full of ammunition and a nice big target. Life is good. I'm buying a machine gun for Bruce's Jeep. My weapon of choice is the M1919.
That's your target. Have a bit of fun, see what you can knock down.
The design of this thing dates back nearly 100 years. It spits out 500 rounds a minute. At twice the speed of sound, it's lethal at over 1.5 kilometres. Being under fire from this thing must be terrifying. At close range, these bullets go straight through the target, destroying anything in between. Perfect for immobilising enemy vehicles or for turning a caravan into a colander. Mate, I tell you, that is for every time I've been stuck behind one of them things on a Sunday. No, mate, a day well spent, mega.
Right, here, Gary, come and have a look at this. You're going to love what we've got in here. Back in the UK, I'm giving Gary Hurley the Royal Tour. Gary isn't just a collector. He stages reenactments of World War II battles, and he wants things that go bang, but they must be authentic.
We got mortars, we got packs, we got Brins, we got flamethrowers, we got everything from the small mortars, the 5 centimetres, up to the 8, the 12s. I don't know whether you're looking for something small, medium or large, or what your sort of price range is, but,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure whatever you've got in your pocket to spend,
Yeah.
I can relieve you of.
Yeah.
So have a look round and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
I've been buying and selling authentic, historic military kit for over 30 years, and I've got warehouses full of the stuff.
That's the Flamethrower there, Bruce, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. The only thing that's missing off that one is the straps.
Right.
But the whole thing's there.
The Flamethrower 41 is a World War II flamethrower. It mixes petrol and tar to create lethal bursts of fire stretching 25 metres.
Every time you pull that, that would release a 1 second jet
Right.
Yeah, a flame out of the tank.
Right,
And then you'd have about 5 1-second bursts, and that'd be empty.
Could you actually get this up and running, do you reckon, Bruce?
I would think that the cylinder in that good condition that you probably could. Who you'd go to get it done, and obviously what licences and that you got, I ain't sure about.
To own working weapons, you have to have a special licence. But this is so out of the ordinary, I don't have a licence to cover it. So we can't get the thing working, but I am allowed to sell it as is.
How much do you reckon that would be then, Bruce?
In all fairness, I've got to tell you, it's expensive. It's going to be about £9 mate, because it's as rare, just a very rare thing, mate. Interested? Something you're interested in?
I would be, yeah, but I'm probably looking for something a little bit bigger, to be honest with you.
We can do bigger, don't worry about that. We can do bigger.
This German granite worth of mortar might appeal to Gary. This thing was used to deadly effect in the war, but what makes this one so rare is the backpack.
These are backpacks for the 8cm mortar. Where this strips down into 3 pieces, that's right, 3 people would have these on, wouldn't they?
You'd have 3 people coming.
When do you ever see that? You never see that kit.
I've never seen...
The only thing is, mate, I've got to tell you, they ain't cheap.
Yeah.
They're not cheap, but if you wanted to do a mortar display kit or a mortar display team, you know, for like £8.5 I'd chuck in the sight, cut the boxes around with the complete set.
What about the backpacks on their own, Bruce?
This is a complete set, which makes it more valuable. I'd rather not break it up. But either way, this backpack is rare and it won't come cheap.
You know, I've only ever had one set of those. You know, you're going to be talking about £3.5 a lot of money, but, you know, you just don't find them. And I don't really want to split it up. So if I was going to split it up, it's got to be that sort of money.
Right. Food for thought, Bruce.
What was that? You mean you bought it? What are you thinking about it?
Let's have another look round at some of your other stuff, eh?
OK, all right, OK. But
don't
listen,
mind.
think that's rare, believe me. You ain't going to see another set like that.
I sense Gary wants a bit more bang for his buck. Something that really says World War II.
Now, this could be more in line with what you're looking at then. Is that the sort of thing you're after?
Oh, yeah.
How's that? That's more in line with what you can keep in your garage as well, yeah?
Yeah.
This is a Pak 40, one of the most effective anti-tank weapons of the German arsenal. This one fired 75mm shells. Even from 2 kilometres away, it would go through most tank armour like a hot knife through butter. I picked this one up in Finland a few years ago for £7
You know, if this fits your remit for what you want for the group, we can do something on this, mate. Right. You know, have a look round, kick the tyres. You know, one careful owner had a little moustache. So,
See, look, all the sighting gears there, everything. You've got the push button firing button there. You've also got the remote cooled operated one there. Yeah, you've got a safety catch.
Now, you can see the condition of it, and in all fairness, all right, it's a bit grubby, but cleaned up, this would be like mint.
You get a crew of blokes working this properly as it should have been done, yeah, and it will look the nuts, mate.
Now I've got him where I want him.
Something that floats your boat?
It is indeed, mate, yeah.
Yeah?
So, how much do you reckon?
Well, obviously you can see it's in good nick, it's complete, right? The cheapest I could let this go for would be £12.5 Cheap, mate.
Yeah.
It's cheap, you ain't going to find one that sort of money.
It's looking more like, for me, for about 7.5.
You could have it for 7.5, but I'll have to take the barrel off. The best I could do, the absolute best I could do, would be £9.
£9.
That's a good price, mate.
Right.
You got a deal. I think you've had the deal of the century, mate, to be quite honest with you.
I'm assuming it's working.
Working? This isn't a wristwatch, it's an anti-tank gun. Even to fire blanks, we're not just talking engineering. This needs serious paperwork.
OK, what if I give you 10?
Yeah?
And you get it working for me?
£10?
Yeah.
If we can reactivate it and get it firing, yeah? With the correct licences for somebody that can put it on a ticket and all that. Can we do that, Ian?
It's made out of metal, mate. There's nothing we can't do with it.
You've got a deal, mate. £10, we'll get this reactivated and working for you.
Lovely.
Job done.